when you open the box, first things you're going to see is the sails will be inside the lid. Cardboard there. The first thing you want to do is get out your manual, because you are going to follow it exactly, starting here with the stand assembly, and then you'll go into building your keel. So follow this step by step. As you dig into the box, you're going to have a full bag of things, and what you're going to need first are those nuts and bolts right there for your stand. A bunch of other stuff in there. This is how you're going to close your hatch up. You have your rudder. You have patches that you use to seal your hatch up. You have the mast here. You have the keel here. This is the box that's going to have most of your stand materials, so you'll need that box. Your keel will be inside this little section right there, and your hull is right there. So you open up there, and you're going to pull out all the pieces to your boat stand. There's your boom for your mainsail, and jib also are in there. But basically, you're using a bunch of these tubes, and you're using these guys and these guys to build your boat stand. So we will go back to the manual now, building the boat stand. You will have an Allen wrench screw in your bag, and you're going to put that together first. Here is my boat stand modified. I have added on the brackets so that I can lie my boat down on its side, and also I modified it with a keel support there, so right there, so that when your boat is sitting on its boat stand, most of the boat's weight sits down there. About 60-something percent, 60% or so sits on that way, so that your boat doesn't sit entirely on the hull here, which can cause over time some bending and things, or cracking in the hull. So it's pretty easy. You can see the nuts and bolts there. There's 2 here, there's 2 on the other side, there's 4 there, and there's 4 on the other side there to build your boat stand. You're going to have pads that go on the top there that your boat will sit on. You'll have the nuts and bolts I was just talking about. You'll have the Allen wrenches. You will have the line that comes with the boat. I will add different color lines, but I'll use the white for a couple of things. You're going to have your elastic, which you will need. You'll have, these are the keel flanges here. These will go into the top of your keel bulb before you put the keel in. You will have the mast stub, so this will go in. Very important, you identified the beveled edge on this. This is the beveled edge up here. I'm sorry. Beveled edge is on the bottom there. You got to know the beveled edge and the straight edge. You have your mainsail boom, your jib boom. This is these are your bogies that you'll use, and this is an important fitting, this little one with the double hole in it. This will go, your keel bolt will go through that. So make sure you have that piece. Here is some keel parts and some rudder parts that you will hook up your rudder with. And you can hook your mainsail onto your mast with these little metal fittings in here also. I tie my mainsail onto the mast, but those are there. There is your keel. Your keel blade has holes here and up there. Your rudder. So there you go. Now you'll go with your keel assembly. So go one step at a time. And the plastic shoes are these pieces right here. Plastic shoes. You'll need these screws. You will need these to go into the keel. We're going to make a mark on these to line them up with those holes so that we can get the holes. So we're going to put a mark on there. The corrosion prevention that we use obviously is Corrosion X, amazing stuff, and then I'll also use Vaseline for some other things. Those are your primary corrosion prohibitors. And so I'm going to need my black pen here to put a little black mark on here to line up the holes. So we will take the keel bulb and we will put Vaseline in here quite a bit. We sail in salt water out here pretty much exclusively, so that makes a huge difference in corrosion, and so you really have to be careful. Okay, so I get some Vaseline on there. I have, as you can see, I've put the little black mark on there, and this is going to be a challenge because once you put Vaseline on these guys, they don't want to stay in your keel. So I am going to stick that in there, and the black mark is going to help you line up the hole that is there. I am going to now take the keel plates. You're going to notice a couple of small holes in there. Those are going to be going down, and these fittings are going to easily fit right inside there. And then here comes the fun part. See if you can lift this up without the metal fitting falling out. Jam that right down in there. Okay, take one of your Allen wrench bolts here, and it's going to go right up through the bottom there. And if you lined up your metal fitting correctly, this is going to go right in. Take your Allen wrench that's provided, and I think I got it lined up properly, and you're going to make that tight. Eventually I'll take a little piece of packaging tape over the top of that to help seal that off with Vaseline inside there, which obviously is a challenge because you gotta get the tape to stick, but a little bit of box packaging tape to cover that up. You can make this quite tight. It is a metal threaded fitting, so you don't run the risk of really damaging it. The bolt that goes through the top here, you're going to have to be more careful because it's going to compress the boat. So you want to be much more careful with this one. This one that I'm doing now on the bottom can go quite tight. Now I have the keel stuck into the boat, right up into the boat there. And then this fitting is on there for the traveler. And I had a little trouble this time lining up the bolt there with the metal fitting. That goes that way. But I think we got it this time. And not too tight for right now. Now you've got the keel and you have the plastic fitting in there that we'll use in a little while. The next thing you do is you go to your manual and you realize that the rudder is next. I'm going to put Vaseline all over this, stick the rudder up through, connect the rudder post to one of these fittings, and then there's a metal bar that will come out, and we will go ahead and connect that up. But we will not connect the other end of that rudder bar to the rudder servo in the boat. So we're going to leave this one loose until we actually turn the boat on and let that white fitting settle in. And then we'll tighten that one up. We will go ahead and connect this one up here pretty soon. You take the rudder bar, Vaseline. Some people will do some other different things. They'll use some very high quality thin tape to tape around this to help prevent wobble. Some people will actually put a piece of string, you know, 40-pound test line or whatever, the little thin line we use, down inside that hole and push it up. Now, if these things come loose, which they can, you want to pop them out very carefully, and you want to re-glue them in properly. Make sure you take note of how they go in. I redid mine, and I put them on upside down, I believe, or something the first time, so then I had to undo it. There's some stuff called Uncure that you can put on here carefully, and it will help do that, but only do it if they pop out. If they don't pop out, leave it. So now you're going to pop your rudder right up through there, and you're going to stick on one of these guys. Okay, that baby is going to go on there like that. What you're doing here is you're pushing the rudder up quite hard from the bottom, and you're pushing this down from the top. You got to be a little careful not to overdo it, but you are locking the rudder with this fitting. And you're going in through here, here, and tightening it up there. So I'm just going to make it a little bit snug. Then I'm going to push it down, make sure it's as far down as it goes. The rudder's as far up as it goes. And you'll see there's a little wobble to these rudders, little wobble. Okay. Then you're going to loosen up that top fitting, and you can go ahead and stick the bar through. I don't stick it through very far. Kind of get all this straightened out. Tighten this one up. I'm going to double check that this one is quite tight. Yep, so the rudder post one is quite tight. This one you have to tighten without bending your rudder arm there. And now you have your initial rudder installed. Again, this is loose up here because I will let the top of that servo settle in before I tighten that one up. I will also make a little mark in the center of the boat back here so that I can get the rudder initially straight with that setting and getting it initially straight there.